Hi, welcome to Alteoptic. Today we're getting a batch of fiber optic distribution box samples ready for a telecom project in Spain. Let's take a quick look at how we do the screen printing. Before we start printing, we first check the customer's artwork, including the port numbers, connection markings, laser warning symbol, and exactly where each one needs to go on the box. The operator then carefully lines up the screen with the housing, applies the ink, and transfers the design onto the surface. Once the printing is done, every box is checked to make sure the markings are clear, complete, and in the right position. After that, the printed housing goes through a curing process. This helps the markings bond firmly to the surface, so they stay clear and readable during installation and long-term use. Next, we move on to the internal assembly step. Here, the operator installs the adapters and prearranged fiber pigtails inside the box, following the port layout required for this Spanish telecom project. Each fiber is routed carefully with enough bending radius to keep the signal stable and make the box easier for technicians to work with during installation. After the internal fiber routing is finished, we move on to the pressing step. The operator places the box into the fixture, then applies controlled heat and pressure to the printed surface. This helps the screen printed markings bond firmly to the housing, so the port numbers and warning symbols stay clear through handling, testing, and outdoor installation. Now we move on to the sealing and air pressure test. At this, the operator connects the fiber box to the testing equipment and checks whether the enclosure can hold pressure properly. We carefully monitor the pressure to make sure it stays stable throughout the test. This step helps us check that the sealing ring, cable entry points, and housing structure are all assembled correctly with no gaps or loose areas that could affect the sealing performance. If we find any leakage or unstable pressure, the sample will be adjusted and tested again until it passes the required standard. For telecom projects, this test is especially important because these boxes may be installed outdoors and exposed to moisture, dust, and changing weather conditions for a long time. A reliable seal helps protect the internal components and keep the fiber network working properly. Finally, we move on to the insertion loss and return loss testing. At this stage, the operator connects each port of the fiber optic box to the testing equipment and checks the optical performance one by one. Insertion loss tells us how much optical signal is lost through the connection, while return loss tells us how much light is reflected back. These two results are really important for telecom networks because even a small issue inside the box can affect signal stability after installation. Only samples with stable test results can be packed and shipped. This is how we make sure the fiber optic distribution box samples for the Spain telecom project are fully ready for field evaluation. At Alteoptic, we manufacture different types of fiber optic boxes, including terminal boxes, distribution boxes, splice closure boxes, FTTH boxes, and customized outdoor or waterproof enclosures. We can also support different port counts, adapter types, splitter installation, pigtail assembly, logo printing, labeling, and packaging based on each project's requirements. So if your project needs reliable fiber boxes with flexible customization and complete testing before shipment, Alteoptic can support you from sample development all the way to batch production.